I'm Dave Collins with CleverHiker.com. In this episode, we're going to take a look at staying safe in high elevations and in lightning storms. Hiking in beautiful locations can often come with unavoidable trade-offs. If you're hiking above tree line, you'll have fantastic sweeping views, but you'll also be much more exposed. Lightning and high elevation safety are two key skills that often go hand in hand. Learning to navigate these dangers will lead to rewarding trips in breathtaking locations. Lightning can be exciting and beautiful if viewed from a safe distance, but if you leave yourself exposed, you could be putting yourself in an unnecessarily dangerous position. Lightning fatalities are an incredibly rare event. In North America, which is home to around 530 million people, there are generally only about 60 lightning fatalities a year. And in the rare event that you are struck by lightning, there's only a 10% chance that the strike will be fatal. So if you take the correct precautions, you're probably going to be just fine. The first step in lightning safety is to be prepared. Check the forecast before your trip and know the weather patterns in the area you'll be traveling. In the mountains, lightning storms generally form in the afternoon, so make sure you get an early start to your day and make sure you're not in an exposed area in the afternoon when lightning storms are likely to form. Pay close attention to the weather while you hike and watch for any aggressive cloud formations. You'll often be able to see the weather coming before it gets to you, so stay alert. Look for flashes of lightning and distant clouds and listen for thunder. If you can see lightning and hear thunder, it's probably a good idea to start thinking about heading for shelter. Get a rough estimate of a storm's distance by counting the seconds after you see lightning and before you hear thunder. A lightning strike is about 1 mile away for every 5 seconds you count, or 1 kilometer away for every 3 seconds. In general, if you counted less than 30 seconds between the lightning and the thunder, you should be in your shelter. On the trail, you usually won't be able to seek shelter in a large, enclosed building like a house, which is generally the best place to seek shelter. If you're by the trailhead, you could take shelter in your car, which is usually a safe place to be. Roll up all the windows and don't touch any metal inside the car. Never seek shelter under an open structure like a picnic pavilion or a shallow cave. They won't protect you from a lightning storm, and they could actually attract lightning. When you're out on a trail during a lightning storm, avoid high elevations. Come down from exposed areas and try and find low spots in the land like valleys or depressions. Seek shelter in a low stand of trees and avoid touching any tree trunks. Never seek a dry shelter under a lone tall tree, because that's just about the most dangerous place you could be. Height, a pointy shape, and isolation are the main factors for attracting lightning. So it's always better to be wet and safe than dry and in danger. Take off your backpack and leave it to the side while the storm is near. Metal doesn't attract lightning, but it does conduct it, and the same should go for your hiking poles. If you're in a group, spread out so there aren't multiple injuries if a lightning strike happens. You want to be about 100 feet away from each other, and make sure you yell out to check on every member's safety after each nearby strike. If you're still feeling exposed, take the lightning crouch position to limit your danger. Crouch down to minimize your height and stand on the balls of your feet to limit your contact to the ground. Put your hands over your ears, close your eyes, and put your head between your knees. Doing those things will minimize the damage if you are struck by lightning. If lightning is about to strike nearby, you might feel it before it happens. Your hair might stand on end, and you might start to feel a slight tingling sensation on your skin. If you start to feel those things, get in a lightning crouch position immediately. If someone in your group is struck by lightning, get emergency medical help as soon as possible. A person that's struck by lightning is safe to touch. There's no charge remaining on them. Check the victim for signs of breathing and a heartbeat. If there's no breathing or heartbeat, start CPR immediately. If more than one person has been struck, treat those that are unconscious first, because they're at the greatest risk of dying. Also, it's important to remember that there's still the risk of another strike, so only gather in groups as necessary. There are other health complications that come from lightning strikes like burns and shock. but the main cause of death is cardiac arrest, so CPR is the most important treatment. Lightning and hiking at high elevation often go hand in hand. Storms can roll in very quickly when you're in the mountains, so being prepared is always important. High elevation hiking can lead to huge views and rewarding summits. But before you plan your high elevation trip, make sure you understand the dangers associated with hiking at altitude. Any hike above 8,000 feet or 2,500 meters should be considered high elevation hiking, and you could feel the effects. Air pressure is lower at higher elevations, which means you're going to get less oxygen with every breath. It'll also be colder at higher elevations. For every 1,000 feet that you gain, the average temperature will drop about 3.5 degrees. Sun exposure is also greater at higher elevations, so you want to make sure to wear sunscreen, bring a hat, wear sunglasses, and use lip balm with UV sun protection. Staying well hydrated is also a key concern when hiking at elevation. The increased sun exposure will drain your body fluids quicker, and you'll also find that staying well hydrated will help with some of the negative effects of hiking at altitude. Some symptoms of altitude sickness can't be avoided by training, but being in peak physical condition is imperative whenever you're hiking at altitude. Being in good shape will make a world of difference when your body is working hard to get oxygen. Slowing your pace can help your body use energy more efficiently when hiking at elevation. Maintain deep, even breathing, and try not to overexert yourself. Some people may experience high altitude sickness when they hike at high elevations, and others may not. It's something you can't prepare for, it just happens to some and not to others. Symptoms can be as mild as slight headaches or trouble sleeping, but they can also be as severe as high altitude edemas, which can be fatal. So don't take the effects of high altitude lightly. Acclimating to elevation is key to avoiding altitude sickness on high trails, so you need to ease into your trip and let your body adjust. For that reason, it's never a good idea to drive from a low elevation to a high elevation, hop out of your car, and head out on a strenuous hike. Acute mountain sickness is the most common way that hikers feel the negative effects of high elevation. Symptoms of AMS include headache, dizziness, nausea, fatigue, and shortness of breath. In advanced stages, hikers might feel disoriented or confused and start to stagger. If symptoms are mild, you can rest at the same elevation for a few hours until you start to feel better, but it's never a good idea to just push through the pain and hike higher. Ignoring AMS symptoms can lead to high-altitude pulmonary and cerebral edemas, which is an excess of fluid in the lungs or brain. Both of these conditions will lead to impaired judgment and can be deadly. The only sure cure for AMS is to descend, so pay close attention to symptoms and don't wait until it's too late to take action. The biggest problems when hiking at altitude generally happen when people get summit fever. They keep hiking trying to reach their goal without paying attention to their bodies. If you're going to take a trip into high elevation, you need to be willing to turn back when something isn't right. That's a commitment that you have to make well before you ever leave the trailhead. The mountains will always be there, but if you're too stubborn, you might not. So take the correct precautions, pay close attention to your body, and make smart choices. I'm Dave Collins with CleverHiker.com. Hike light, hike smart, and have fun.